Alien 3, David Fincher's entry into a xenomorph universe. A xenoverse? I know, not fan's favorite, but I must admit, I love this film. Risking a huge shitstorm in the comment section, I'd even say I prefer it over Aliens, the second movie. And please, don't hate me for it. I'm willing to debate you in the comments, but this is not a film criticism channel, this is a special effects channel. And Alien 3 took quite a unique, groundbreaking, if not flawed approach. Well, in order to make the alien look less humanoid, basically less like a guy in a suit and more like a four-legged animal, they decided to build this amazing miniature rod puppet, animated by, I don't know, 4 or 6 people, but it was amazing. It looked amazing, it moved amazing. But then when they composited it with the live-action material, it sucked. I mean, it looked terrible, let's be honest. It was really bad. Everybody hated it. I'm pretty sure David Fincher cried when he saw the final result. I don't know what happened there. Maybe the technology simply wasn't ready yet. Maybe it's because all the problems with this production. Maybe they ran out of budget and rushed the effects. Maybe they could have been better, but weren't polished enough. I don't know, but what I know is that 30 years has passed since then, and the chroma keying techniques became really easy. So I believe that I can do it better. And when I say better, I don't mean I can build a better puppet, I can just do the compositing side better. Hello, my name is Grzegorz and welcome to Homemade Specials, where I'm trying to recreate some classic practical special effects using regular household materials. And today we're going to be building a xenomorph inspired rod puppet using some dinner leftovers. By which I mean bones. I got some chicken bones here, I got some fish bones here, I got some duck bones here. And beside that we're going to use some fabric, some string, some plastic, barbecue sticks as rods, and of course some silicone. So let's get it started. I want to start with the head because I believe it's going to be the most difficult part, the most important part to start with, the most difficult part because it's the only part that it will require some sculpting, and I'm a really bad sculptor. Luckily, Xenomorph's face is basically featureless, and the only visible feature are the teeth. So when I say I'm going to start with the head, what I mean is that I'm going to start with the teeth. And originally I was even planning to make the teeth out of bones as well, but then I thought that the bone might actually be too fragile, too brittle for such thin parts, so I decided to go with something flexible, this plastic bottle, which requires some precision, and you know how good I am with precise work and how I love precise work. But yeah, I think I might be able to cut out proper sized teeth. Someone's writing me, don't worry about it. Oh, that's a lot of messages. What is going on? Yeah. I'm planning to use this bone as a kind of like a base of the head, elongated xenomorph head, kind of Alien Queen crown style. So yeah, I think that should be the right size for the teeth. Where are those bloody teeth? Practically invisible, I hate it. Okay, to sculpt the head, I'm gonna use this 2-part epoxy glue, and I hope I have enough, because if not, then that's enough shooting for today. It should be enough. Let's mix it. Okay, and let's try insert the teeth. Too much in the back. Can I move them up front a bit? Maybe I should take them out. And try and squeeze them in again a bit more up front. Yeah, like that. Yeah, look at that. That's the proper evil xenomorph face. Next step, the spine. And for that, I'm going to need to burn a lot of holes in a lot of bones. Mostly fish vertebra. So basically the spine, the real spine is going to form a fake spine. I don't like to do it because it stinks and it probably gives me cancer, but it's safer than to drill. Oh, and I almost forgot those two sticks. One for the head and one for the tail. And one in the skull. One hole on the bottom of the skull. And I also want to cut this little bone into 3 smaller pieces. Oh, that goes so easy. Nice. And I'm also gonna need to burn holes in those 3. So now I'm gonna push the piece of string into the hole in the head and secure it with super glue. So now I can thread all my little bones, all my vertebra on that string, but I want to start with the stick, the rod that will be used to move the head around. Now in the proper order. First the chicken vertebra to form the neck. Luckily those bones already had holes in them. I didn't have to drill those, which is nice because I'm lazy. Now let's see if the length of the neck seems alright. Yeah, it might actually be a bit too long, but why not? I like the long neck. So now I'm gonna thread this bone, which I kind of wanna work as a, what's the name of those? Collar bones. Yeah, the collar bones. And yeah, I know it's a bit nonsensical from the anatomical point of view that the collar bones and the spine and the vertebra are the same bone, but I don't care. It's an alien skeleton, not human. It's supposed to be weird. And now I'm gonna start threading on the ribs. Again, the ribs and the spine will be pretty much the same bone. One to the left and one to the right, and one to the left and one to the right. I don't want to mess up the direction and the order in which I'm threading them on, because I'm gonna have to start all over again if just one of those bones will turn up in a wrong place. Now those bigger fish vertebra, going from the shortest spike to the longest, and keeping the spike bent backwards. And now the pieces that I cut out from the bigger bone. So now the small fish vertebra. Not like to start with the biggest, but also the ones that have only one spike, like this. This one. Final vertebra on the tail. And right after that, the second rod, the one that will control the tail. And then I want to tie in this bone, which will be like the spike at the end of the tail. And I think I can just tie a simple knot here, and that should be it. And that, my friends, is how you make a beautiful Predator style trophy necklace. But if you're not interested in trophy necklaces, let's continue and use a piece of my old underwear to form a torso. I'm gonna roll this piece of fabric into this tubey shape, I suppose, and that's gonna form the base of my torso. And then I'm gonna cut another piece, or maybe I should say I'm gonna tear another piece to bulk the chest up. It should be, thicker in the front, and I think that should be enough. I'm gonna tie it all up with a piece of string. Nice. And now I'm gonna position it where it's supposed to be, picking up all the upper ribs and leaving the rest down. Okay, and now I'd like to tie my fabric torso to the spine. This is already getting a bit messy, and it's only gonna get worse. I'm pretty sure gluing it on would be much easier, but I really want this torso to be as flexible as possible. And super glue would just soak into the fabric and make it really stiff, and I think every other glue would still add some stiffness to it. So yeah, I'm choosing the difficult approach, hoping that it will simply pay off later. Okay, it's not bad. It's not going that bad. Can you even see what I'm doing? 'Cause I got so lost in it that I'm not even sure where the camera is and what am I even filming. Stitch those ribs and the collarbone to the torso, so they basically stay in place and don't move around too much. I gotta be careful because it's easy to turn this whole thing into one huge mess with so many moving parts. Yep, one big mess, as I said, one big mess already. And it's just a second rib. What am I doing? Oh, okay, I think I got it. And once I'm at it, I think I can also trim the excess fabric from the torso and secure it with few stitches so it doesn't fall apart, doesn't fray. Yeah, just to make it more sturdy. It's a different kind of stitching, a creature like this. Not your grandma's stitching. I mean, I still believe your grandma could make a nice rod puppet like this. I'm just saying, grandmas usually don't work with bones, right? So yeah, let's clean up the front of the torso as well. And I think it's the right time to trim those ribs. I probably should have done it earlier, but I wasn't entirely sure how long I want them to be. And to be honest, I'm still not entirely sure, but I thought, well, let's just get on with it. I believe I can stitch on 2 more ribs here in the front of the creature, since there's room for them. Why not? Okay, time to form the legs. I've drilled the holes in all the bones, and now I'm just gonna stick tiny pieces of thread in those holes, secure them with a tiny drop of super glue. Yes, like that. Yeah, this one dried, so I'm gonna pull the other end of the string through the hole in the other bone, and that will be a knee. And secure the thread on the other side, on both sides actually, with a drop of glue. And this one doesn't go all the way through, so I'm gonna have to trim it short. Okay, so first let me drive a short piece of thread through the hole in the collarbone, and I'm just gonna tie a regular knot on it, double, and then I'm gonna pull it through the shoulder. And now a second piece, tie it down and thread it through the hole in the bone, and now secure both of those with super glue. Before I attach the feet, I think I could attach the rods that will move the corpse, and for that reason I'm gonna carve a tiny, I don't know, crevices in 2 of those barbecue sticks that will help hold those sticks in place. Yeah, something like that should be enough. I think I forgot to hit record as I was stitching this rods in. I'm terribly sorry. Is it recording now? Yeah, it's recording. Okay, you can see the final moments of this process. As you can see, it was regular stitching, nothing complicated. Okay, so I'm gonna need 4 identical feet, each one consisting 3 fingers, or toes, right? Toes. Feet fingers are called toes, right? Never mind. And I was trying to glue it all together, but somehow the string and the bone doesn't really glue very easily for some reason. So I'm just gonna tie it all together like this, and then secure it with super glue. And now I'm gonna glue my toes to the barbecue stick, forming a foot, kind of like that. Oh wow, no. God damn you, super glue, I hate you. And I'm gonna use the same plastic bottle to make clothes. Oh, Where did you go? Here it is. To make clothes. Let's give them a proper claw shape. As you can see, I've sanded it down a bit before. It should make it easier to glue, but also it's so much more visible now, at least to me. I mean, I don't know if the camera really shows it, but I can see them much easier now, and that helps. I should have thought of that before I make the teeth. But yeah, you know, I'm still learning here. Every day is a learning process. Every effect I make here is basically breaking new grounds for me. And I guess it shows. I mean, it's part of the channel's appeal, right? As I'm getting closer and closer to 1000 subscribers, I believe there are people who actually enjoy this stuff. And if you're enjoying this stuff, leave a like. Do let me know that you did enjoy it. It makes me happy. And one final step is to thread those ends of strings coming out from the feet, through the holes in the legs. I better immediately secure it with super glue. After some consideration, I decided to stitch 2 additional ribs here in the back. Well, not in the back of the rib cage. Like, basically make the rib cage a little bit longer. I should have done it earlier. It would be much easier without the legs and especially the rods. But that's how it turns out when you don't plan in advance. You know, it's more like vibe and feelings with me, more than a proper design. So yeah, I'm paying for my own mistakes, but it's gonna be fine. So as you can see, I've set my xenomorph up in a, let's say, natural position using some books just to have a good look at the creature. And I think I could maybe glue a few more bones on him just to add some more detail, dribble him up a bit. Now I don't want to paint all the bones because I simply like the color and I'm lazy. If I don't have to paint something, I won't. But I need to paint the face simply to blend it together with the bone, the rest of the skull. So I'm gonna try and do it very selectively. First black to get out all those nice details. And now I'm gonna carefully try and dry brush a little white paint over everything, so all that beautiful details come out. Look really scary now, right? And now I'm gonna try to use yellow and skin tone, blend it better. Yeah, I think it worked quite fine. Nice, what do you think? And finally, I'm gonna try and use this regular brown silicone to fill all the gaps between the bones, and also to cover all the fabric and strings and basically everything that would make this xenomorph zombie look like a puppet and not like an actual xenomorph zombie. Now I got some oil here, regular edible oil, which makes my fingers immune to the silicone. so I can smooth it out. I'm probably gonna have to do it in a few stages anyway. I'm not gonna be able to reach everywhere in this particular position, which I want to be my default position. So yeah, once this first batch of silicone cures, I'll be able to move the guy around and see where else I need more silicone. Now, if you are wondering why I even decided to use bones for that project, well, the answer is actually pretty simple. Bones are very durable. You couldn't have like sticks or wires this thin, this rigid, and at the same time they have great shapes. I wouldn't be able to sculpt. Great texture, great color. I mean, everything is just so natural. Naturally ugly, I would say. Organic. In a way that would be hard to replicate. Especially that I'm a terrible sculptor. The puppet seems to be working. Of course, it's impossible to operate it with just two hands. I'm gonna need at least two people to help me shoot it. But before we move any further, I'd like to dissolve some of my brown silicone, water it down with a bit of Nitro Universal paint solvent, to make basically kind of a thick paint, thick silicone paint, which I will be able to apply with a brush, and that way I'll be able to cover with silicone all the hidden spots, all the holes and crevices and basically parts that I couldn't reach with the regular silicone applier. Now, I don't want to cover all my ribs with silicone, so while it's still wet I'm gonna remove the excess with a piece of toilet paper. Oh yeah. I want the silicone in between the ribs, but not necessarily all over the ribs. Oh. And most importantly, I need to carefully apply some silicone in between the neck and the tail vertebra, basically to give those parts a bit of stiffness, but not too much. You know, I don't want like a ragdoll effect. I want it to be, you know, more rubbery, like prone to stay in its default position, but still retaining the ability to move away from that position. And also I'd like those tail bones to not turn around on itself, and I believe the silicone will also help facilitate that. I know I said I don't want to paint the bones because I like their natural texture, but let's be honest, some bones are just way too white, much too white, especially comparing to those not too white. So I decided to gently stain them a bit with heavily watered down wood stain. You may remember it from the tornado video, it's the same one. I still have a lot of it and not much to do with it, so I decided to use it here anyway. I know it's not the proper color. I think it's gonna be just fine. I just want some staining, some color on those way too white of the bones. Oh, this wood stain is water solvent, so I didn't need any paint thinner, anything like that for it. I just mixed it with water. And yeah, I think it does the trick. Okay, next step is to build a miniature studio, I should say. A miniature green screen studio. And for that reason, for that purpose, I'm gonna use a cardboard. And if you are wondering why cardboard, well then the answer is the same as usual, because it's free. Hashtag there is such thing as free cardboard. Okay, let's try use some masking tape to maybe secure it until the glue dries. Two of them, actually. Two pretty much identical mini sets, I would say. One for a green screen, a miniature green screen studio, and the other one for more traditional set. Piece of scenography. Basically a wall and a floor. I'm not sure if it's gonna work, but it's an experiment I want to try. But when it comes to green screen, you don't want any hard edges that can catch a hard shadow, because, you know, basically in the shadow the green won't be green, it will be black, and really hard to get rid of. So to make this edge practically disappear, I'm going to take a piece of paper and glue it over here like this. I can paint my little green screen studio with a regular wall paint because it's cheap and matte, and this is a sample. It's really cheap. And of course I'm gonna use the same green paint on the rods, since they have to be invisible on the green background. And the second one I am simply gonna cover with plaster. Yeah, I'm gonna try and smooth it out as best as I can, but it doesn't really have to be that smooth. That's the point. So, did it work? I believe it did. I mean, not perfectly, as usually, but still better than in Alien 3, right? So let's try and break it down. The first mistake I made was choice of the green shade. While I was looking for a matte paint, because you want your green screen to be matte, you don't want it to be glossy. I was also looking for the one that is most saturated, and that was it. I didn't think about the fact that it's not really green, it's kind of yellowish, and since my alien is also partially yellow, it was kind of hard to key. I've managed to separate the colors and key it out eventually, but the edge is not perfect. In some shots. It looks really good in some other shots. The other thing is the iPhone. It's a good camera, but it's not perfect for shooting green screen. With a better camera I could probably achieve better effects. Now, what's next? Once I keyed it out, I had the first big issue that I did expect, which was the fact that wherever the rod obscures the bone, after you key it out, it leaves a hole. I thought I had a smart way of solving this issue, but my imagined technique didn't work, so I ended up copying part of bones and limbs out of the frames where they were fully visible, freeze framing them, and then meticulously animating them frame by frame to cover all the holes, and that was a pretty tedious job. Now, the shots on the plaster background were even bigger nightmare. One thing that I didn't think about at all is that those rods will not only cast shadows of their own on the plaster, once I key them out, they will also leave holes in the shadow that the alien casts. And that was a nightmare. Just to give you a perspective, I usually spend one day, one evening actually, to edit a scene, the final effect for every episode. And this one took me an entire week. Yeah, I'm not joking. But I think it was worth it. I mean, some shots look really great. I'm really happy with the close-ups, where there was no contact between the alien and the background, so there are no hard shadows to remove. The edge is really crisp on those. Now I decided to use plaster only in 2 shots, because of the amount of work it was. And the wider shot I put in just for the heck of it, just because I did it. But the close-up, I actually think, works better on plaster, because you still have all those real contact shadows. You don't have to recreate them artificially on a green screen. Now, I'm particularly proud of the ceiling shot, even though the key is far from perfect, mostly because of the contact shadows where the feet touch the green screen. There was just no green there. But still, it's a moving light source. I had to recreate 2 shadows for 2 different lights, and while it may not be looking perfect, it's still way better than the shot that I was inspired by, the one from the movie. I mean, just look at it. It looks nice. So, to summarize, the technique works, as usually, with some quick tweaking, and maybe with professional puppeteers I could actually achieve much more impressive results, but still I'm quite happy with what I got. So, as usual, if you like this video and you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do, it helps a lot. Please hit that like button if you like this video, and of course, see you next time.